The darkness of the whole world cannot swallow the glowing of a candle. One candle. So Hanukkah reminds us of the rich rewards that come from having and exercising our faith, even just a little at a time. And it begins tonight. It's a great reminder. This is the season of light, and it comes from so many different traditions. So without faith, we tend to manifest our fears, because actually faith and fear are just two ends of the same stick, aren't they? It's a believing in something, like believing the terrible things are going to happen. And guess what that does? It tends to bring about what we have been thinking about and believing about. And we can change that and move to the other end of the stick, where we're believing and knowing that there's an opportunity to connect ourselves with that divine source, which is greater than anything that's happening out there. Greater, always. God's bigger than that. It's a good thing to remember when things are tough. Oh, I remember, God's bigger than that. And so we shift our attention to the possibilities. And as soon as we do that, we become an open instrument through which those divine inspirations begin to be born. What we think about, we bring about. It's a simple, very simple truth. And so it's a good reason to focus on that which is beautiful, that which is true, that which is of good report. Because where attention goes, energy flows, and there's this beautiful law of cause and effect, sowing and reaping, the law of mind itself that responds to our, is it to our wish? No. You say, no. Is it to our hope? No. Is it to our belief? Yes. Oh, you're so good. Okay. There were two, remember in this beautiful allegory of the Garden of Eden, there were two trees. And one was the tree of life, and the other was the tree of good and evil. Well, the tree of life is about wholeness and oneness and infinite possibility and love and joy and peace and freedom. And the tree of good and evil is the tree of duality. That's the only tree that we weren't supposed to be eating from. You know the story. It's always the woman, right? Well, he didn't have to eat it, you know. We ought to probably revise this whole thing. Anyway, we're told to leave alone the tree of duality. That's where we start believing in separation, good and evil. We start believing that there is God and goodness, but there's the devil too. I hope you don't mind. I hope you're not disappointed. There's no devil in this philosophy. Nobody left. There's one. Now, how is it then that evil shows up in the world? It's not an entity. It is not a power of its own. There's only one power, and it's the power of God, which is a power of good, which is a power of life, and that's symbolized by the tree of life. So how do these awful things show up? Because they do, don't they? Have you noticed? Because you and I were given sovereignty over our consciousness. One of our favorite words, huh? Sovereignty. We get to choose, and we choose wrongly sometimes. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the mess. That's a capital T and a capital M that's going on in the world today. It didn't just start recently. It's been going on for a long time. We're just becoming a little more aware of it, I think. The mess is one that Sharif Abdullah, in his book, A World That Works for All, that's what he refers to as all the matote, all the nincompoopery that's going on out there in the world. The mess. I think that's a good name for it, don't you? Yeah. Do you ever get any of that in your own life? Well, a little here and there, maybe. But evil is not a thing of itself. It's a distorted use that we make because we were given free choice, and we do it out of ignorance. And ignorance doesn't mean you're stupid. It simply means we don't know yet. right? We're ignorant of how the law works. We're ignorant of the truth that God is all there is and it's only good, and there's a power for good in this universe and we can use it, and there's a power for good in this universe and it can use you. Wow, that's the greatest news ever. And as Sharif says in his book, A World That Works for All, as he's spilling out all of this stuff about the mess, it's hard to get through the first part of it because he's really putting it out there. He says there's only one way. Only one way. I mean, we can fix this. We can fix that. We can fix diversity, racism. We can fix homophobia. We can fix the planet. We can fix all these things, but they're all symptoms, and they're just all part of the mess. Finally, he says there's only one way out of it. Guess what that is? A change of consciousness. That's what we're working on here all the time, right? That's what we're doing at home. That's what we're doing reading our books. That's what we're doing when we come together to remember who we are and to share that with each other and get excited about what we can do no matter what's going on in the mess. What a relief. Individually, we shift our consciousness. When we come together in a very conscious group like this, we are even more empowered because we're more open to the inflow of divine solutions. And there are divine solutions. And it was Einstein who first said, you cannot fix the problems. There's not the solution there in the material, in the human world. You can't fix a problem at the same level that it was created. And that's what was created. It can only be fixed. The only solution is moving up in consciousness to a spiritual solution. But we need to let go of the fear in order to move into that faith. Because today is the fulfillment of faith. And we've begun a brand new month. Happy December to you. And the theme for December is happiness and fulfillment. You like that one? Happiness and fulfillment. We were designed to be joyous. This song was a great one to begin this morning. We were designed to feel fulfilled in our own lives, in our families, in our workplaces, in our communities, and in the world itself. Every sentient being was designed to be fulfilled. So, the greatest fruit, going back to our allegory, comes from the tree of life. And don't we want to have beautiful fruit in our lives of loving relationships and prosperity in every area that we may name it and claim it? I just got back from Rhode Island, and it was so wonderful. I went Friday afternoon and returned this morning very early because I wanted to attend Reverend Ian Taylor's retirement party. It was so wonderful to be there. And there were a few of us ministers who had come from a little bit of a distance. I think I might have gotten the prize if any had been given. But we got prizes just by being there with this beautiful man. Many of you know Ian Taylor. When you were between ministers a few years ago, he would often come and he would speak and he'd support the board. And he was extremely helpful with the board as they were going through the candidating process. He and his sweet wife, Lori, even drove down here from Providence, Rhode Island, the Concordia Center for Spiritual Living, for my 8T party in July. Surprised the heck out of me. How could I not go? It was awesome. It was wonderful. And this man has the most beautiful and dynamic consciousness. He just completed 11 years there in Rhode Island. And he's retiring. It's not a word I understand. I'm not sure I ever will, and that's okay. He has built a very strong center there. There were 166 people at his retirement party, and it had kind of a Star Trek theme. I found out something new about this man we all love. He's a Trekkie. And there were lots of Vulcaneers, and it was fun. Had I known, I would have gone to the costume shop. He not only built a powerful, dynamic, conscious, caring congregation there, but he took care of all the Northeast ministers and centers at the same time. He has been the regional support for the entire Northeast. And what an amazing person. And his consciousness is brilliant and shining and loving and caring. And you could tell by all the testimonials there. I got to give one too. You could tell that people adored and cherished him. And he had built such a strong consciousness there that they are moving seamlessly into their new spiritual leader. He finishes the end of December, and the new one, Alan, I don't remember how to pronounce his name, but he's very good, and I will learn. He's starting in January. Just moved up from Florida. So he established such a strong foundation that people were sad. Of course, there were tears last night and a lot of laughter because they roasted him. You wouldn't do that to me, would you? Oh, never mind. I'm not rewiring again for a long time. That it just worked so sweetly and so simply that it is seamless. He and Lori will be leaving the end of the year, and the new spiritual leader steps right in. And I could see that they instantly knew that this was the right person for them. They had gone through a co-creation process. They had done their visioning. They got very clear. They were working from faith. And they were an inspiration to me to see what was taking place there because of this beautiful consciousness that had been established. See, we can be encouraged by other people's faith. It's a wonderful model for us to look at and realize, if they did it, we can do it. If he did it, I can do it. If she did it, I can do it. I can remember years ago going into the hospital, many years ago, of a woman who thought she was dying. And so I went and sat with her, and I listened. We talked a little bit. And she said, at that time it was Reverend Maxine. She said, Reverend Maxine, I just don't seem to have any faith anymore. I said, I have so much faith. Would you like to have some of mine? She said, yes, please. Well, that was her decision. She changed her mind in that moment. She said, yes, please. And she recovered. I haven't seen her in years. I'm not sure if she's still on the planet anymore. Either way, she's happy. She's fulfilled. She's having a wonderful time. She changed her mind. Because somebody else said, I've got plenty. Here, have some. I'll get some more. Some of you may be familiar with the children's book. What's the name of it? It's about a carrot. On the cover, there's a little boy with a carrot. And this little boy was perhaps 5 years old. And he said to his mother and his father that he was going to plant carrot seeds. He wanted to raise carrots. They said, it's the wrong time of year. Carrots don't grow real well here. You're very young. I don't think you can do that. His siblings said the same thing to him. Oh, no, just forget that. We'll just go play ball. He said, no, I want to plant carrots. And he went to kindergarten. He told his teacher and his friends there he was going to plant carrots. Oh, I don't think that's a good idea. He maintained his vision. He maintained his faith. He went home and planted carrots. And he watered every day, and he talked to them every day, and they started to come up a little bit. As you turn the pages, here's a little green sprout, and he's not listening to anybody but his own divine self, and he continues watering the carrots and planting around, taking care of the planting. And then the last page in the book shows this little boy pushing a wheelbarrow with a carrot that filled up the whole wheelbarrow. I love that story. And I like to think of it whenever I might be discouraged about or worried about anything. We can be encouraged by other people's faith and how they implement it and use it. We use our fine minds combined with our loving hearts to make wonderful decisions. And even the smallest application of faith, as we hear in the Hanukkah story, even the smallest application of it can produce great results. Remember the 51%? 51% is this. And this is from the book Shortcut to a Miracle, right? A class that we all loved so much. Elizabeth Errett suggests that if we keep our minds on that which is positive, that which is life-affirming, that which is good for us and good for all, 51% of the day we'll be making progress. Excuse me. I guess I'm going to give a speech. 51% is not a lot. As long as we're over the neutral line, we're making progress. And from there we can go 55, 65. Do I hear 75? How about 95? Just a small beginning can change our entire consciousness. That's the really, really good news. We get material results, yes. We see the things we've been treating for show up. But there's more than that. Because, yes, conditions change, greater good comes, but there are even greater rewards. It's our awareness every day of a divine connection. It's a sense of peace and confidence that accompanies us no matter what else may be going on in the mess, in our own personal little messes or in the great big one. This is what is established. It's the greatest reward of all in eating the fruit from the tree of life. Yes, we get beautiful things showing up in our life. Wonderful new loving expressions of that life that we are with other people. Great good, and the greatest good of all is experiencing the sense of I am that I am. The source within me is powerful and is here and is right where I am and is mine to use and is beautiful. So the peace sustains us. The confidence moves us forward. Let's remember who we are. My beloved teacher was Earl Barnum, affectionately known, as many of you know, as Barney. And Barney's beloved wife, Jenny, was the music director in the Redondo Beach Center. And then they got married. And it was so sweet because when I was a teenager, Jenny would write songs for me, and we'd go up to the institute where Ernest Holmes was, and we'd join with other teenagers. Well, she called me a few years ago, still lives in Southern California, and she said, Maxine, I have written a new song. I said, oh, good, some of you know this already. She said, it's a rap song. This is the woman who, if anybody dares to ask her age, will say, what is it, like I'm 13 million years old and as young as tomorrow. So you don't ask her. She said, I've written a rap song. And so it goes like this. I need you to click. We are the fingers and the toes and the eyes and the nose of God. We are the hands and the feet and the mouth, I repeat, of God. We think we are an entity, separate and apart, and yet our real identity is written in our heart. We are the fingers and the toes and the eyes and the nose and the hands and the feet and the mouth, I repeat, of God. Of God. Isn't it good to remember who we are, no matter what it takes to remind ourselves? Go home and sing that to everybody. Steadfast attention to the truth opens infinite possibilities. No matter what happens, we need to trust in the presence. We need to rely upon the law that is immutable. It is accurate. We can count on it. I plant a seed, I get carrots. Maybe I get a great big one, depending on how my faith and confidence may be. Believe in your word. Your word is powerful. You're using the same word that God uses in creating mountains and streams. We're just using it in the microcosm. But it's the same creative process. And let's have the courage of our convictions. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, whatever you do, you need courage. Whatever course you decide upon, there is always someone to tell you that you're wrong. Those carrot seeds aren't going to come up. I think he read the book. There are always difficulties arising that tempt you to believe that your critics are right. To map out a course of action and follow it to an end requires some of the same courage that a soldier needs. Peace has its victories, but it takes brave men and women to win them. It takes courage to establish in our own lives, in our own consciousness, the peace that already exists universally. So it's time for us to be clear and to be courageous. We need to remember who we are. And in this community, we built this city. Oh, it was the sanctuary we built. That's right, or rebuilt. We are a healthy, strong, vital, life-changing community, changing our lives and helping others change theirs as well, wherever we may be. As Nehemiah said, we're doing a great work. We will not come down. So I want you to stay prayed up with me. No matter what we see in our personal lives, in the lives of our community, in the world itself, stay prayed up with me. Affirm the what. In every case, affirm the what, and let God work out the how. Let God work out the how. We do our part to enhance the whole. There's the alpha and there's the omega when we're doing our spiritual work. And the alpha is the beginning, the intention, the idea that we plant in this fertile law, this fertile soil of infinite mind. And the omega is the result. So here's what we choose, here's what we ultimately receive, and what's in between? No man's land. Because we don't tell spirit how to do its work. I can't figure out how to do things that need to be done that seem really hard. But God can. I don't know all of the little steps involved any more than I know how to keep myself breathing when I go to sleep at night. I trust the infinite intelligence within me to do it. And I trust the infinite intelligence within the conscious and subconscious mind of the infinite to reveal what needs to be revealed in the way that I can't figure out on my own. So we plant the seed. We reap the carrot. This is a very special place. You are very special people. And I was thinking this morning about another one that Jim had written. This is my home. You are my family. Let's now embrace the challenge of being all that we can be. In this sacred space, I invite love and compassion,
connecting, supporting, welcoming. I open my heart. You are home. Step into this love. We are home.
Isn't that great? Isn't that the greatest thing? Thank you for coming. Oh, I see you've been taking notes. Oh, good. Okay, I trust in the goodness of God. Say that with me.
I trust in the goodness of God.
I keep my candle burning steadily. I delight in the fruits that my faith brings.
I delight in the fruits that my faith brings.
And so, my beloveds, beginneth our lesson. Thank you. And this